Alright, so I do want to say, if you are new to the channel, uh, think about, hitting that subscribe button. Let me know in the comments throughout this video what you would want to see. Any tricks, tips from wiring to, messing about with my car or whatever. Just, let me know in the comments and, yeah, on with the video. What's up, guys? So, I did a little poll on Instagram about if you guys wanted to see my, quarantine setup for working from home. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take you guys through a little bit of a couple things. So I'm going to take you guys through a couple things, like what I'm doing to stay sane. I hope everybody's safe. I really hope everybody's doing whatever you can to kind of, stay away from people physically, but I really hope you guys are also still FaceTiming and gaming with your friends. Stay connected, but just stay apart. This stuff is pretty serious, and most of the people, I'm like 33, so most people my age and younger don't really have to worry as much about the deadly effects, but it's everybody else that you could come in contact with. So just keep that in mind. Stay away from each other, but get out of the house, go for walks. If you got a car, go for a drive in the country. If it's nice, if it's not, go for a drive anyways. Get out of the house. It'll keep you from going nuts. With that being said, it's kind of been nice working from home. Throughout this video, you'll probably hear the kids going bananas upstairs. My wife's taking care of them right now. She's also working. I'm working. I'm building harnesses, so I'm doing a production thing instead of the custom installs that I would typically do. I think starting next week, I'm going to be doing some prototype work for some of the new ECUs and the new ECU line, I guess, with some of our harnesses. So that'll be a whole nother thing. Not in this video, but I'm going to take you guys through what I've done you can kind of see behind me there, what I've done to set myself up to work and be productive and still just kind of try to keep things as normal as possible. So yeah, let's get into that. Alright guys, so you can see this is the board that I use at work to build harnesses. I set myself up. I actually kind of stole this idea from Brian Scotto from Hoonigan. Actually, if you go on his Instagram and look in his stories, you'll actually see exactly how to do this. I'm going to insert a few pictures here of what this looked like before I actually put it up on the wall. It's called a French cleat, which is basically just two angles that it just slips inside. Now I don't have a table saw, so it's not perfect. But yeah, so that shelf is actually set up to where I can move it from the very top down if I wanted and have a table. There's actually this board goes down to probably right in there. And, you can make it's basically a way to have a modular, shelving system or organization and stuff like that. So that's how I hung this. That's how we had it hung at work so that we could, move this board wherever it needs to be, moved. This tote actually turned out to be perfect to keep my loom stuff from, rolling away. You can see my table here. The garage is bananas. Haha. Yeah, I got my car home. Side note. Totally, we'll get to that. But she's home. Yeah, so got my computer here. Usually that's open just in case I need to do a Zoom meeting or I'm listening to music or whatever. I got my soldering station here, and this is a hot knife. I don't know if you guys have used a hot knife before, but that's the jam for cutting this expandable looming. But it gets really hot, so be careful, please. So I don't know if you guys knew this, But this is how a lot of our terminated harnesses start, especially when prototyping or doing some like quick production stuff. This is how it starts for me, at least, for the most part for now. It's a flying lead, so it's one of Haltech's premium flying leads. And then I pre-cut everything here that gets added or changed in the harness. If you buy a Haltech terminated harness, you do get, the mating half of the connectors and extra pins and whatnot. Yeah, so we got pins. Those are EV6 injectors, and a few LS type connectors use that pin as well. Injector pins and pressure sensors, and these are different Deutsch DTM type stuff that gets added to the harness. Pre-cut heat shrink, which if you guys are going to do any kind of harness stuff, I definitely suggest pre-cutting some different heat shrink lengths, so that way you're not just like cutting and that speeds things up like a lot. Got a couple uninsulated butt connectors here. This is what I like to use as far as actually being able to connect wires. Soldering works, but it can make your wires become brittle on the edges. So I like to use these because it still gives you the flexibility that you need. And then you obviously will shrink over them with either this is glue lined, or without glue. Either way works, but this will give you an environmental seal so that you don't get corrosion where you've got exposed wire. I got some more tools over here, crimpers. Believe it or not, I use these to actually stretch out heat shrink so that you don't have to use a size that is way, way, way bigger. And then once it shrinks down, it actually gets really thick because it's shrinking up. So what we do is we'll stretch it out a little bit to make it fit over. And then when it shrinks, it obviously gets really tight and also gives you a nice thin layer of shrink at all of your harness joints. But some more crimpers. This is actually has a built-in amp clamp, but this is a multimeter. Use that to test all of our harnesses after everything's put together. Different zip ties. But this is the majority. So if you're going to be building a harness, these are the big heavy hitter tools that you're going to need. A pair of good shears, a couple different size open barrel crimpers here. Tool Aid makes a few different sets. We actually offer, this would normally be a red handle here as well, but I'm not really sure what happened to this one, but it's got blue handles. But this is what you would use for a lot of like your Toyota type connectors. It's got two different size round crimps for your seals. And then you've got this guy, which is probably the most commonly used pair of open barrel crimpers as far as for most people, just because they are excuse me, yes, it's a dry cough. Most common is because they are like a weather pack type, very versatile. Again, I actually use these to stretch the heat shrink or to de-pin or pull the wedge locks out of some of the connectors. Then you got some strippers, a couple pair of flush cuts, which, guys, super pro tip here. Stop using regular cutters to cut your zip ties. This will keep you from, filleting your arm when you go to reach into, your engine bay or whatever. This will cut it flush so that it's nice and soft. No more sharp zip ties, guys. Come on. You can get these for like $3.50 on Amazon. You can get like a 10 pack of them for like nothing. The part number is right there. Hopefully, I don't even know if you guys can see it. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. CHP-170. Get you some of these. They're cheap. Get you 2 or 3 pairs because they're only for plastic, for real. If you cut anything other than plastic, they will dull out and get you some spots, which they don't cut good. But again, cheap. Keep you some sets. That way you can cut your zip ties without destroying yourself. I got my my build list here that you guys can't see because this is all blown out, but I don't know. Let me try turning this light off. Yeah, so I got my harness build list. I've got one left to do. Turn this back on. So yeah, I actually added that light back there because my eyes were straining quite a bit. I added a couple lights above me here a couple weeks ago, and those have been great. Actually, some of the stuff that I've used for here were stuff that I had bought for my shop, and I stole it from myself. I guess it's not really stealing it if you steal it from yourself, but either way, I needed a bit more here because it was just sitting in a pile of stuff to my to-do list at the shop. So, yeah. I guess let's get on to the elephant in the room. She's big. We won't call her an elephant, but yeah. Yeah, so I got to be careful. If I call her an elephant, she'll get mad at me and do something silly. Yesterday I went and picked this car up from, the shop. I wanted to have it at the house so I could do some stuff. I grabbed a extra can for getting some E85 if I need it. I don't necessarily need it. It's got about a half a tank. I did go by work and I grabbed a couple reels so I can cut some more pins because that's one of the things that I was out and waiting for this last harness. But I have that now. Yeah, so I will say one of the things that I'm going to do is probably pull the dash back out. It just takes a couple screws and it just pops right out of there. But that is going to be so that we can play with this guy. If you guys follow along at all with Haltech stuff, which I hope you do, if you don't, get on it. This was our latest and greatest. This is the IC7 display. That is a 7-inch full color display, and it's customizable. We just released a big update. This will be the first time I've actually had a chance to do anything but install one. I'm going to put it in my car, and we are going to play around with it a bit and learn how to use the software, learn how to use the dash. I have wanted a color display in here. My IQ3 Street has been great, but again, it's pretty dated. But this guy is really, really nice. Like I said, I'm excited about this. Like, I obviously work here, but I still get excited about the stuff that we sell. Because, look at that. It's pretty. Buttons outside, so all of this can be easily accessed with gloves on. That's a big thing. Touchscreen is great, except for you get fingerprints all over your display. And if you have gloves on when you're racing, like most of us do, you can't make the changes you need to make. So you can play around with, you've got a bunch of different screens, you've got preset layouts. I think the new update actually gives you a few more layouts. You've got a diagnostics page that literally displays everything that the ECU is seeing, which is a lot of information, but if you need to do a quick look and see what's unhappy, it will display it. So you've got multiple types of actual text that can be popped up and say over temp, oil pressure low, danger to manifold. If you want to get silly, you can. That is programmable. And then you've got lights across the top. So this can be shift lights. This can be warning lights. It can be all kinds of different things. The big thing is that you can change the colors of the lights. You can use from here to here as your shift lights. You can use the entire thing as shift lights. You can use every single thing up there as different lights for different things. I don't know why you would ever have this many lights, but you can. Yeah, so this will give the inside of the car a little update of, you know, just kind of a facelift, but also a bunch more functionality than I currently have. Like I said, it's currently got an IQ3S Haltech edition in it, and that's gonna probably just stay in there because it's kind of difficult to get out. I put it inside a factory cluster, so yeah, we'll kind of pop over here. It's gonna get kind of dark, guys, so sorry. Engine bay, Garrett Turbo. The thing's been amazing. The sounds that it makes are awesome because, you know, we're all racers at heart. GTX 3584 RS tile, stainless steel V-band exhaust housing. Got the OG MVR wastegate, one of the first ones that they produced way long time ago. It was literally sitting until I got this car, and then I utilized it on this manifold. Absolutely amazing. I love their products. I've been using them for years and years and years and years, like 12 years. Date myself a little bit. Over here is the Tile QRJ. Really interesting. It uses a much lighter spring than a traditional blow-off valve because of how it is oriented, and it actually puts pressure on the back of the piston so that you actually only vent what it needs to vent to not surge or flutter or whatever when you lift throttle. But what's great is because it only vents what it needs to, and this is continually filled with boost pressure, the response is way better than a traditional atmosphere dump. What's another thing that's really great about it is modular. So you've got different things that you can actually screw into each of the deals, each of the ends here and here, so that you can have a different mount here if you don't want just a traditional Q or 50 millimeter mount. And then you can also get like V-bands and different, like there's one with like flutes cut in it. This one's just was the loudest thing they had, so obviously put that in there. But you can actually use this to recirculate it into the front of the turbo. So this guy can be unscrewed and put all kinds of different things. They've got hose mounts and all that. In case you guys didn't know, this car is drive-by-wire. Again, if you're new to the channel, you know, I haven't really even talked about it all that much, but this is a drive-by-wire setup. The throttle body is from a like 2010 Tundra with a 5.7 liter V8. It's a 70 something, 74 maybe. Yeah, so I've used that to play around with idle stuff. I've got an idle up switch. I've got rotational idle, all of that stuff. But yeah, drive-by-wire is pretty fun. You can play with the curves so that it's very sensitive or not sensitive down low, but then super snappy up top. It's kind of, you know, it's really nice. It's, again, having the Elite 2500 in here allows you to manipulate all that stuff and do weird stuff like drive-by-wire on a JZ. Now, this is a 1.5J. It was originally a 1J car till I abused it to the point where it actually broke a piston. Yeah, the limiter action is hard on things. What else do we have here? It's on BC coilovers. Can't see anything because it's super dark. BC coilovers, they are the digressive, so the DRs. 20K front, 8K rear spring setups. And the car squats like crazy. It hooks hard. Line lock from the gender reveal. VSKFs, usually they'd be on the back too, but I either have a nail in one of them or the wheel is starting to, the seal in between the three-piece stuff is potentially leaking. I haven't even actually had time to check it. My big BCL wing, 1850, super sparkly, which I think this might be the first time you can actually see it just because of all the lighting in here. It's just wonderful. I am going to try doing the pancake. I think the pancake or cupcake, whatever they want to call it. I can't remember. I think it's cupcake. Basically where you take the risers completely out and then it's just slammed against the trunk. So it'll almost be, you know, it'll be super low mount, which is just try something a little bit different. I love it way up there, but I'm going to try something different just because, well, we can. I know I showed you guys this, which is super rad. Got my Grip Royal custom wheel here. If it will go into focus. Hey, there it is. Yeah, so Grip Royal wheel. See, it's got the Wild Running logo, the Haltech logo. And they make this wonderful horn delete here. That's anodized purple, goes with the rest of the car. See the super sick shift knob that I just happened to see they were putting. They put some stuff on Instagram a while back, and I saw that thing and had to have it. You can see this thing's got a stock cluster. You can just see that there's an IQ3S in there. Yeah, so we're going to play with this thing a bit. I'm going to take you guys with me. Yeah, but that's the setup. And I have been rambling long enough now, I think. Hopefully you guys are staying safe. Alright guys, so I've rambled long enough. I'm going to close it out here. I want you guys to do me a favor though. Please go and find any of your friends. Reach out to them. Say what's up. They could be having a hard time. If you have any friends or follow anybody on social media that is, you know, a first responder, which I actually consider even like grocery store workers, anything like that. I mean, they're putting themselves in harm's way to, you know, make sure we are still taken care of. Thank them. If you know, stay away from them, but thank them. Like, shoot them a message. Say, hey, thanks. I recognize that you are doing something that is really hard and scary. Thank you for doing that. It's very important to, you know, stay connected, but stay away from people, man. Like, it's very important. We got to shut this thing down because we got to come back together at some point and, you know, rebuild a little bit. This has been a pretty bad thing that we've been dealing with. But yeah, also, let me know what you would want to see with my car. Do you want me to film washing it? No, I'm not going to be in a Speedo, thank God. But yeah, I'll, you know, get the car out. We're going to play with some stuff, change the way the wing's set up, play with the IC7, maybe clean some of the wiring up, because even though I'm a wiring guy, like, you know, again, if it works, I kind of just left it, but it's pretty bad. The engine's good, but some of the stuff inside the car is just a mess. Yeah, but just, you know, let me know in the comments below. If you're at home and watching this, like. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll get through this together, guys. Like, just stay home as much as you can. Be safe. Again, reach out to everybody. Stay connected, but away from each other. So, yeah. See you before long. Bye.